Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Veronica, as you guys know, and today I am going to be talking all about how I traveled throughout Tokyo in Japan alone by myself without a phone. If you guys have not already, please go follow me at Veronica Lynn on Instagram. There I'm asking a bunch of questions about what kind of videos I should post and what I should talk about, and I love getting your guys' feedback, so please comment here or feel free to go to my Instagram and message me and let me know what you think and what else you'd like me to talk about. So okay, today, talking Japan, talking no phone by myself traveling. So as most of you know, if you watched like my previous video or if you follow me on Instagram, anything like that, a few months ago, from last summer, so around July of 2019 to November, I was traveling through Europe, Middle East, and Southeast Asia. And part of the time I was with my sister and part of the time I was by myself. So when I was in Southeast Asia, I was traveling alone. Well, towards the end of the trip, my last two destinations were the Philippines and Japan. And second day in the Philippines, the phone got water damage, broken, beyond repair. So at that point, I'm like, okay, what do I do? I figured, I don't want to buy a new phone, like in the Philippines. They don't even really have that many iPhones there. And I had 2 more weeks left of the entire trip before I was home. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna make the best of it, freeballing, no phone. So originally I was going to go to Japan for 8 days at the end of my trip, and I'm so excited because I just heard so many amazing things about Japan, so I could not wait. But after the phone got broken, I had some friends that I was with in the Philippines, so I stayed with them a little bit longer, and then I only ended up going to Japan for about 3 days because I knew I'd be totally on my own, and without having a phone, I was just a little nervous. I thought 8 days was a little bit too long to be alone there. I didn't want to spend the time just like in my hotel not doing anything. So I decided to stay in the Philippines for a little longer and then go to Japan. Thank God I had my computer with me, because if I didn't, I would have had no form of communication. I was still able to tell my parents, hey, I'm okay. And I was able to kind of, email back and forth with them and message them on my computer. If I didn't have that, my phone was broken, I would have had nothing. Also, another thing is that I wasn't gonna let not having a phone, really affect me. Did it suck? Yeah. Was it inconvenient? Yeah. But I figured, listen, I'm here. I don't want to spend the whole time moping about how I broke my phone. I can't take selfies during this. I still definitely tried to make the best of it. So I'll kind of just start from the beginning. I was only there for 3 days, so this one's going to be a little bit shorter. But show up in Japan. Also, to mention, this was the end of my trip, so I was definitely running out of money. So I wanted to enjoy myself, but I also couldn't be just show up in the airport after an overnight flight or red-eye, and I get there and I get some yen, some Japanese yen, and I'm like, I'm just gonna jump in a cab because I've been to LA, I've been to New York, and even those, they're supposed to be expensive cab rides from the airport. I mean, the most you spend is $75, so I'm like, how bad can this be? Thank God I just Googled quickly. I had to jump on their Wi-Fi with my little computer. Jump on the Wi-Fi and I do a quick Google search, and I've flown into, there's 2 airports. The one I flew into was a little bit farther, and I look how much an estimated would be $200 for a cab ride into Tokyo. So that one really, that had to be a no for me. I've been I don't want to just spend $200 just on a cab ride. So then I have to charge the computer, charge the computer at 6 in the morning in the airport, and figure out how to get to my hotel through. They have a really good subway system, so I ended up taking that, and it was actually really easy. You just took one line the entire way. But the crazy thing about Japan is there's a lot of things that are not in English. I mean, a lot of the signs are very self-explanatory, and it's easy. They have each up with numbers, but they don't have English names in there. And I sound so bad being they don't have English, but you're used to, as an American, or when you speak English, in most places you travel, they'll have little stuff in English. And not only was there not a lot of stuff in English, but there's a fair amount of people that barely spoke English there. Somehow make it 2 hours into the city on the subway with all of my bags, by the way, on my little computer, no service, like just still having screenshots up of these directions, get into Tokyo, and I come out and I'm like, where the hell am I? And I have like, I mean, I just had no phone to find anything. So I'm like, ah. Pretty much end up, I just jump in a cab and I just show him. I had the address and like the location screenshotted on my computer on my MacBook. I had MacBook Air. Thank God it was small. It was easy to carry around. And so I just show the cab driver and I'm like pointing. I'm like, here's the directions. He kind of understood me. We drove around because in Tokyo there's a lot of just walkable like little streets and stuff that cars can't go down, and that's where my hotel was at. So he ends up stopping. Thank God, this really nice cab driver like walks me to where it is, helps me bring my bags, get there, get to the hotel safe and sound. So first part completed. And I just think I realized, you know, how spoiled I was with everywhere else I traveled, where like most people spoke English and I was able to communicate with them. Because even in Japan, when I went down to the front desk, I'm like, oh, like where can I go get some good sushi? And they like tried to explain it to me. I literally didn't even know. So when I went out to walk around, I didn't want to venture too far because I wouldn't have been able to find my way back. It's like, and even if you just jump in a cab and say, here's like my address, sometimes they don't understand you. So I was like, okay, I don't want to go too far. So I kind of just wandered around where my hotel was, and it was in a super cute location. I was lucky I picked somewhere good. There was a lot of stuff like easily walkable too that I didn't feel like I got too lost. Exploring a little bit, you know, I went and got like a little sushi just by myself, just kind of roamed looking. You know, Tokyo's a beautiful city. It like reminds me almost like a lot similar to New York, not as crazy, a little bit more organized. So it kind of reminded me of like an Asian Paris in a way. It's just like really beautiful. There's so much culture, so much different stuff to see. So it's definitely kind of a city that you can enjoy just kind of wandering by yourself. I was super lucky to be staying in an area that had like a very kind of tourist spot temple that was there. So as I walked, it was a few blocks down from where I was staying. So when I walked there, they had all these shops with like all these other tourists there. You could get all these really cool Japanese stuff. I got stuff for my brother. I got him a t-shirt. I got some stuff for like my two grandmas. So it was really cute, and just not being too far. So I knew I could get back, so I wasn't getting lost. And definitely something fun to see. So that was amazing. The shops were really cool. And it was that was a great experience. Probably wondering like, what the heck did I do like with no phone? Like, how did you even get around? So what I ended up doing, and another thing is a lot of times when I travel, I know people who are pretty well connected like in New York and stuff like that. So I usually kind of hit them up and I say, do you know anyone here? You know, anyone like goes out, because I'm really comfortable with meeting people. And that's what I did when I was in Singapore. I was in Singapore by myself also, but I had friends that worked at Tao Group in New York, and then there was a Tao Group in Singapore, so I was able to kind of connect and meet some people to end up to kind of go out with and hang out with. So but with having no phone, I was unable to do any of that. So I went on Airbnb and I booked some tours. So I booked 2 tours. One, I did like a photography tour because I knew that I wanted to get photos while I was there. And I'm like, how the heck am I gonna do this? I literally have no phone. So they have like these photography tours that, you know, you can book. And a lot of times it's for couples that go, and, you know, they wanna take pictures and remember it. And so they, you know, they hire someone to do that. I think I had it for like 2 or 3 hours, and I spent like, it was like $30, $40. It definitely wasn't bad at all. And then the other tour I booked was like an experience tour. So you just get to go and like wear the kimonos and stuff like that. So I figured those were like 2 kind of different things. I'd be able to like see the city and like get a taste of Japan. When I went to find, I basically was communicating with my tour guide from Airbnb for the photography tour. And I'm like, you know, like where do I meet you? And he's like, oh, we're gonna meet at a Starbucks in Shibuya. And Shibuya Crossing is one of the biggest tourist attractions in Japan. It's like the biggest crossing in the world, I think. So it's like all these streets, and literally it's just like seas of people just like cross each other. It's super cool. So we go to meet there, and I'm like, okay, like there's a Starbucks right there. Like this should not be that bad. So little me carrying the computer in my purse, because I'm like, I need some sort of just connection to the world to be able to communicate and find this person that I'm meeting. So I jump on, and the trains there, I had experience taking the subway in New York, which made it really helpful. And they're so easy, they're so clean, like literally everything. It's the experience is so much better than the subways in New York. It's very clear where to go. So I basically get the directions screenshot on my computer, and then I'd have it, and I'd bring it with me, and I'd say, okay, like here's the train that I need to take. And it was really easy, like numbered. So it's like you get on at stop 1, you get off at stop 15. So it was, you know, they make it as easy as they can in Japan. Oh, I show up at this Starbucks, and all I had is the guy's email. So I'm like emailing him, and I'm like, I'm here, I'm trying to like connect to the Wi-Fi. So it took about, and I'm like, you know, wandering around. I'm like, do I meet him out front? Do I meet him like, there's 2 levels? Do I meet him upstairs? Like, I'm just like, nah, what do I do? So I end up meeting him. Finally, I saw this guy with the camera, and I'm like, are you, you know, for my tour for Airbnb? And he's like, yes, I am. So it was like this super cool guy who did photography, you know, part-time. And so he took me, it was amazing. He took me to like all these really cool spots. And we walked around all Shibuya. We like took pictures in Shibuya Crossing, which is super fun. Definitely, you know, got a couple looks, but what are you gonna do? And then he took me to some really cool, like, different alleys, and it was awesome. He was like taking me, like, we took the subway all around, and he lived in Tokyo, so he knew exactly where to go. So took me to some kind of like low-key spots that you normally wouldn't find, but just like very what you would imagine Tokyo. It was beautiful, and like the guy was great. Took a bunch of like really awesome photos for me. So, you know, I had a great experience with that. And if you're going somewhere where it's just like you and one other person, you can really find some great stuff on Airbnb. Also the perfect thing for me to do, because you know, I was only there for a few days, so I wanted to get as much in, and he took me to like all the major spots. So it was really cool to just like get because Tokyo, like there's so many different like places you can go. So just seeing like Shibuya Crossing and like, you know, just all the different places, it was awesome. It was a great because you get some photos, and I got also to just like experience the taste of the city with someone who lives there. After that, I went to like kind of this experience tour that I booked, and I got there a little bit early, and I went to this restaurant, and I'm like, oh, like they have to have like, we're so spoiled here, like speaking English, which is such an international language. So like I go into this restaurant, and like literally no one speaks a lick of English. Like I was getting around people who were like, oh, like they could like talk a little bit here and there, legit nothing. So I sit down. Thank God this menu had photos on it, because I would have had no idea, not one single thing of English. It was just all in Japanese. This restaurant was awesome. I mean, it was so traditional, like people like taking their shoes off, sitting more of those kind of lower tables. I don't know exactly what they're called. So I sat down, I ordered great food, just pointed out what I wanted, and it turned out being delicious. So it was, and then when I paid, you know, I just brought my receipt, paid, and I was good to go. So I think that was epic from wherever I traveled, the only place that I've been that no one spoke English. The experience today was super, super funny. So we go to a temple, a Shinto temple in Japan, and kind of get the history of it. And I was the only one who booked it, so it was just like me and the guide. Like I literally booked these like tours that were only like $30-40, and then I was the only person the whole time. So it's like I got like these personal tours. It was awesome. So ended up we kind of walk around. I had this really sweet tour guide, a woman. She told me about histories like of the temples and Shinto religion, stuff like that. And then I actually got to dress up in the kimonos. Which is awesome. They like took like pictures of me. I just like by myself. Like killing it. And then I got to make matcha, which now I'm obsessed with. I drink matcha every single day. It's this it's like really strong Japanese green tea. It's supposed to be so healthy for you. It's like why they all live so long, so they eat this matcha and everything. And so make matcha. I get to do all these like little cool like little Japanese things. People are like coming there in groups, or like, you know, with their significant other, and I'm just like, hey, like by myself. Great. I mean, everyone was nice to me. There was definitely times where I like felt a little like being alone, but you just gotta like rock it and own it. And I'm just like, you know what, like this, I'm getting this great experience. And then the woman, even she like took photos of me, and she sent them to my Facebook. Definitely was not all amazing being there. Trust me, there were times when I was walking around. I mean, I got lost so many times, I can't even tell you, because I get lost walking around like New York with my phone, with my Google Maps. So I'm in this new country where not a lot of people speak my language, and I literally had no fun. I mean, I was carrying my computer with me, like having to connect to random Wi-Fi's that I could find so I could be like, okay, which way am I going? And at one point when I went to Shibuya, because I went once with a photography tour, and then I went once on my own, because it was actually pretty, from where I was staying, it was pretty easy. It was just like a straight shot on one side way to get there, so it's pretty simple. I was like, I was just like walking around, and I was like, okay, I can't go too far because I have to remember like how I got back here. Like I don't just want to be aimlessly wandering, because then it's like, how the heck do I even get back? So Japan, luckily, like there's a lot of really cool sites, but ways I would do it as I'd be like, okay, like I passed like this Starbucks, and then I passed like this 7-Eleven, and like this weird store with all this weird sign. It just like kind of making like little like points in my head of reference. So then like as I came back, I'm like, okay, I remember that. Like I just had to be conscious of it, because I didn't want to end up like getting lost and like jumping in a cab, and I'm like, I need to get back, and they're like, I don't speak any English. So but yeah, no, there was definitely times where I was like freaking out. Lost plenty of times, but thankfully always. So Japan was seriously amazing. I mean, even though I was only there for a couple days and I was there without a phone, it was still one of my favorite places I've been. It's really beautiful. But I do, just want to talk about how, like, if you don't have a phone, like, even me, I was by myself, like, it definitely sucked. I wanted to be there, like, taking selfies, like, posting everything, like, you're like, oh, picture it didn't happen. But, like, I managed to enjoy myself, even without the phone, and just kind of soak up the experience that I was. So, she made the best of it. I made the best of it and was able, I had a good time, it was just kind of like a little bit of wandering, the computer. Thankfully, Japan, it's a really westernized in the way where like almost everything had Wi-Fi, so like wherever I was, I could, connect to it and kind of make sure like, okay, like this is where I'm going, like I'm not too lost. And I was lucky that I was staying in a place that there was restaurants, there was like a McDonald's across the street, like I said, this big tourist attraction temple was just a few blocks down, so it made it really easy to get around and actually like have a pretty good experience, even though I had no phone and I was by myself in Japan. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I tried to add like a little bit more pictures in this so you guys can kind of see like what I was doing, is you're not just hearing me like da 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 like blabbing the whole time. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and definitely, again, follow me on Instagram at Veronica Lynn. Message me, tell me what you think, and I'm going to be posting polls about what I should film and talk about for next week. Thanks, guys.